Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? I wanted to answer a really interesting comment that I had in my video about, hey Ivan, what is role-playing anyway? And that was somewhat of a tongue-in-cheek video, not entirely, but I wanted to talk about that a little bit another time. But Solmyr42 had mentioned that, hey, Ivan, while the narrative insertion of facts about the world isn't necessarily actually really role play, it can help move things along. It can help you stay in character so you're not passively waiting around for the GM to make up facts about the world. And even you can nudge things in the direction that are relevant for your character. And so that's a really, really interesting point. And it really depends. Let's just assume, let's start with the base assumption that you're like me and your goal is to have an immersive in-character experience. There are nuances. There are different types of experience that you can all put under that big umbrella of having an immersive in-character experience that are way beyond the scope of this short video. But, there's differences in intention. Do you want something where you are, moving the action along in a particular way? Is it more important to you for things to continue to flow? Is it more important for you to get an idea, is your intention going to inform your imagination? If, you're chasing somebody up the flight of stairs and now they're on the other building, is it more important for you to have the intention to jump across those two buildings, jump that gap, and so then you'll narratively insert that these are close together, as opposed to, asking the game master, geez, how far is it? Is this the Matrix? Did they just do an impossible thing? That sort of thing. And there's lots of different behaviors and techniques we can use in role-playing, and the question we have to ask ourselves to find out is this technique going to preserve my immersion in character, or is it going to be disruptive to my immersion in character? For Solmyr42, it might be the case that it preserves their in-character state if they don't have to ask the game master, is there this object? Is there this piece of driftwood on the beach because I have an idea of what I want to do with a piece of driftwood? Probably going to be to bonk somebody over the head. Or, I want to get, jump these buildings, so I'm going to narratively insert, how close they are together. That may preserve their immersion in character, where stopping to ask the game master a clarifying question, in or out of character, saying, how far apart is those two buildings? Or I look to see how far apart these two buildings. I try to judge if I can make that jump. I'm looking on the beach for a piece of driftwood. That may disrupt their feeling of being in character. You notice in both cases, we are doing things essentially that are not playing the character at that moment. We're asking a question, of the game master in some form, or we're narratively inserting something. But one is less disruptive and one is more disruptive to our state of feeling like we are in character. To me, the exact opposite is true. When I am forced to, or have to, or I'm supposed to, or I just do, make up facts about the world, there gets to be a point, and I have a low threshold for that, where the world no longer seems real, and it absolutely disrupts my feeling of being in character. Whereas if I, ask the game master a question, in or out of character, I try to do it in character as much as possible, it feels very immersive for the most part, because it feels like an analog of using my senses. I'm looking to see how far apart these buildings are. I'm using my eyes, my ears. I'm using my judgment. Gosh, can I make that? Is that humanly possible? And so for me, it's this analog to what I would be doing in real life, and asking that question doesn't feel very out of character. So that's one of those things. It depends. It depends on your nuances of your intention for what the in-character experience looks like, which once again is way beyond the scope of this video, and also just on your personal reaction to using various techniques. That's just one example, because there's a whole bunch of other ones. But in terms of narrative insertion versus asking questions, that's my answer. So is it more in character or out of character? Well, I don't know. It depends on a lot of stuff.